Hi, welcome to another Harvest LA Daily Devotions. Today is Wednesday, November 25th. My name is Jeremy, and today I'll be going over the passage Daniel chapter 4, verse 28 to 37. If you'd like to follow along with me, I'll be going through the ESV. So, verse 28. All this came upon King Nebuchadnezzar. At the end of 12 months, he was walking on the roof of the royal palace of Babylon. And the king answered and said, Is not this great Babylon, for which I have built by my mighty power as a royal residence and for the glory of my majesty? While the words were still in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven. O King Nebuchadnezzar, to you it is spoken. The kingdom has departed from you, and you shall be driven from among men, and your dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. And you shall be made to eat grass like an ox, and 7 periods of time shall pass over you, until you know that the Most High rules the kingdom of men and gives it to whom he will. Verse 33. Immediately the word was fulfilled against Nebuchadnezzar. He was driven among men and ate grass like an ox, and his body was wet with dew of heaven till his hair grew as long as eagle's feathers, and his nails were like birds' claws. At the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted my eyes to heaven, and my reason returned to me, and I blessed the Most High and praised and honored him who lives forever. For his dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom endures from generation to generation. All the inhabitants of the earth are accounted as nothing, and he does according to his will among the hosts of heaven and among the inhabitants of the earth. And none can say his hand or say to him, What have you done? At the same time, my reason returned to me, and for the glory of my kingdom, my majesty and splendor returned to me. My counselors and my lords sought me, and I was established in my kingdom, and still more greatness was added to me. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of heaven, for all his works are right, and his ways are just, and those who walk in pride he is able to humble. So when we read this passage, it is easy to judge Nebuchadnezzar for his pride, and yet his flaw is one that we all struggle with regularly. In verse 30, we read, The king answered and said, Is this not the great Babylon, which I have built by my mighty power as a royal residence and for the glory of my majesty? Now, Nebuchadnezzar clearly relishes in his accomplishments, his self-sufficiency, and his self-importance. In pride, he does not recognize God's sovereignty, and God makes it clear that pride is a sin. In Proverbs chapter 16, verse 5, we read, Everyone who is arrogant in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Assuredly, he will not be unpunished. And in our passage, God makes his sovereignty known, bringing the respected King Nebuchadnezzar down on his knees, right? Yet, that might have been God's greatest gift and blessing to him, because over the years of suffering, only through years of suffering did Nebuchadnezzar finally recognize God's glory. Pride is easy to see in others, and yet it's quite difficult to recognize in ourselves. I know when I finally completed my years of schooling and landed my first job, I basked in my achievement. And while it reflected years of grit and perseverance, it also led to a false sense of security, sufficiency, and ultimately pride. In the ensuing years taking care of patients in our local communities, I've learned that what truly matters is not our physical possessions, our wealth, or status. They don't provide lasting happiness, and these things don't necessarily carry over. Only our relationship with God will. And when I carefully reflect on my own life, My faith has been made strongest during times of hardships rather than times of plenty. In 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9 to 10, we read that my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. As we enter the season of Thanksgiving, may we praise God not only when He gives, but also when He takes away, or when He makes us patiently wait. I hope this passage encourages you today, and want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe, stay healthy, and hope to see you guys next time.